We work hard as physicians to take care of the health and well-being of our patients. But when it comes to our money, do we have the same condition of care? Probably not. Let's change that together. Welcome to the Financial Freedom for Physicians podcast, where we'll fight and advocate for your financial literacy. As always, I'm your host, Dr. Christopher Liu. Thanks for being here. Let's jump into the show. This week's episode is sponsored by CityVest. CityVest has quickly become the most popular and best way for doctors to invest in top-performing real estate private equity funds that are usually reserved for institutional investors. This unique access to investing in these institutional funds is available for the first time ever through CityVest's easy and secure online investment platform. CityVest does the hard work of conducting due diligence and vetting the investments. They even get a third-party due diligence report that is posted on their website. As a result of aggregating a several $million investment amount into their access funds, CityVest gains access to investing in the institutional investment and is able to negotiate better investment terms such as a 12% preferred return. You can check them out at cityvest.com or go to the link in the show notes below. So welcome everybody to this week's podcast episode for the Financial Freedom for Physicians podcast. And I'm your host, Dr. Christopher Liu. And as you know, we talk about 4 different types of freedom: time, location, financial, and emotional freedom. And what started out as physician guests and audience has expanded to now include entrepreneurs, investors, high income earners, high net worth individuals. And so today, I have a special guest. His name is Kyle Sullivan. He's founder and CEO of Unleash the Champ. And hopefully the audience can have a lot of good takeaways. So Kyle, welcome.
Yeah, absolutely, Dr. Chris. I am excited to be on today and excited to give value to your listeners.
Yeah, we had connected through Podmatch, and you have a really interesting story because you're a performance coach to men and women and leaders, and really, as your business and brand, help them to unleash the champ. So tell us more about you, yourself, how you got started, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, absolutely. So first and foremost, man, I like to talk about my family. That's the greatest group I get to impact. And so my wife and I, we just celebrated 9 years of marriage. We got a little girl that's 2.5 and a son that turns 1 in 8 days at the time of this recording. So 2 under 2.5. So we are we got full plates right now. But it's super fun. And the creation of Unleash the Champ, for your listeners, CHAMP is an acronym. It stands for your calling, your heart, your altitude, mindset, and performance. And so when you unleash the champ, what we talk about within our company is that you maximize your professional success without creating a mess for you or your team. Oftentimes, and your listeners will get this, and they're probably nodding about this point, going, man, I've sacrificed a lot. I've created a lot of mess for the success that I have. And so we work with folks to go, okay, hey, you're going to have trials, you're going to have troubles, you're going to have pain, but let's mitigate that. And so we enhance that professional success through our frameworks and our tools and our assessments and things like that. Before I started this, I was a pastor for 13 years, 11 full time, and got to work for amazing organizations that have really a global reach and sit under some of the greatest leaders in the faith world. And so that's really what sparked a lot of this. And Unleash the Champ unofficially started October 5th, 2019 at 12:47 a.m. That's when I held my little girl for the first time, the one that's about to be 2.5 years old. And I knew I wanted to give her a presence of time, not just presence of things, and had no clue how it happened. And then, as we all know, and your listeners will know, especially, is March of 2020 when the world shut down. If the pandemic didn't happen, I wouldn't be doing this today. I would have just kept doing what I was doing, but I believe that with disruption allows for reflection, and sometimes reflection causes us to take a different action. And that's what really spurred Unleash the Champ started. So They got a crazy story, been a part of a lot of really amazing things, and we're building something really special here.
Yeah. Yeah. I love, tape, creating beauty from ashes. And I just love,
Yep.
Phoenix rising out of the turmoil. Um, what's interesting is we talk about, it sounds like we talk about a lot of, leadership development, personal growth, um, motivation and inspiration. So, from your experience, what's the number one thing someone needs to be successful?
Ooh, number one thing. I'm gonna go with probably the most basic, but the thing that most people struggle to define, and that's your vision. When we talk about the altitude and within Unleash the Champ, most people, if you ask them, "Hey, what do you want?" You'll freeze them right in their tracks. Just, if you're married, ask your spouse, "Hey, where do you want to go eat tonight?" And you'll see, just won't be able to define it. I don't know. I don't know. You decide. You decide. You decide. We do that with our vision and with our altitude of where we want to go. And you could have all the success in the world, have the houses and the cars and the vacation homes and the investments and all of this stuff. But a lot of times, if you really peel back the layers of it, it's just been kind of, well, you just go to this thing and you go to this school and you get this degree and you go to this deal and it just kind of, you end up somewhere. But when I work with people, I go, okay, what do you want? Not what has society told you, not as what your colleagues say, not what your team says, but like really, what do you want? And that's a big piece. And that's why even within Unleash the Champ, it's the center, it's the altitude piece of, because where there is no vision, where there is no altitude, the people perish. You'll just exist in life until you get to retirement age and then wonder where the time went. And so I think that's the biggest thing that people need is, what are they shooting for? What's their target? And then from there, you talk about the consistency over time. One of my mentors always tells me that he said, the problem with you young guys is you grossly overestimate what you can accomplish in the short term, but you grossly underestimate what you can accomplish through decades of consistency. And so having the altitude where you want to go in life and the consistency to stay with it through the ups and downs and ins and outs, two things that will ensure success 9.5 out of 10 times. I just don't want to say 10 out of 10. And then somebody come back and say, that didn't work. 9.5 out of 10 times, it'll work.
Doc to Doc is a personal lending solution designed by doctors for doctors. We understand that doctors' financial situations change faster than an insulin drip in ketoacidosis. And we also understand that doctors are the most reliable borrowers in the world. Through our proprietary algorithm, we're able to provide personal loans at great rates with amazing flexibility because we take into account your schooling, your specialty, and where you are in the medical journey. Doctors come to us after they've matched into residency, and we loan for all sorts of personal reasons, from credit card debt consolidation to family expenses and medical bills. We speak with everyone who applies for a loan and offer fixed interest rates and flexible term options without prepayment penalties. If you're a physician looking for a personal loan, fill out our application form now. It only takes 3 minutes, and we'll get back to you with a decision within 24 hours.
Where did you get your belief that everything is going to turn out okay? The end outcome is going to be awesome.
Oh man, for me, it's centered in my faith and my story. I mean, I was wrapped up in a lot of really destructive behaviors, really destructive circles. I mean, if you look at my life, and I don't talk about it much now because it was a long time ago, but I mean, I was wrapped up in drugs and alcohol and dealing, and like I go from here, very destructive path to either jail or death, to now what I'm doing now with a thriving family, amazing wife, growing business, being able to serve people powerfully. I can't look at my own life and go, it's probably not going to work out. And what it came for me is back to what I just said, a vision of where I wanted to go and the commitment to stay with it. And for me, it's going, listen, I've been in much worse places than I am now. Both are with problems, both are with challenges. But I like these problems and challenges way more than I liked those when I was wrapped up in drugs and alcohol and really destructive behavior. So for me, it's my own personal life that says it's going to be all right. It's going to work out. You just got to keep moving forward.
Yeah, that's very inspiring. And you talk a lot about taking risks and betting on yourself. And what led you out of comfort and security, to start your own business? Tell us more.
Yeah, so I'm futuristic. If your listeners have done Strength Finder, futuristics in my top 5. Depending on the time I've taken the test, it's sometimes in the top 3. And so I'm constantly thinking about the future. And when I thought, okay, October 5th, 2019, 12:47 a.m., they say, all right, Mr. Sullivan, you take your little girl back to the post-op room and we'll fix up your wife and she'll be with you shortly. And I'm like, who's coming with me? She got a whole team of people. I mean, she did just have a baby. And I was just pushing a little baby. But I looked and I said, okay, one day I know this is going to happen. One day my daughter and my son, they're going to look at me and they're going to ask me a question. And the question's going to be, Dad, I don't know which way I should go. I have this one option A. It's secure. It's a lot of guarantees in it. It's comfortable. It's safe. I'm familiar with what it could bring. I'm familiar with the challenges that it holds. So I have this. I got option A. Okay, sure. Option B is, man, I got this thing I'm really passionate about. I'm not sure if it will work. This is like 90% sure. I'm like 51% sure here. Dad, what do I do? How do I process which decision to make? I knew that would happen. I had that conversation with my parents and decisions in my life. And I wanted to be able to tell them stories, not theories of mom and dad making those same risk. I email my kids are 2.5 and almost 1. They have email addresses that I've set up, and I email them periodically about what's happening in our lives. And when they turn 18, they're going to get the email and password to those accounts. And they're going to have this log of me emailing them over the next 18 years of, hey, here's what dad is struggling with right now. Here's what dad is challenging with. And so that's really what spurred me to go, okay, I know this is going to happen. Happens with everybody that has a relationship with somebody they value, they trust, that's more of a guide, mentor, and in this case, parent. I don't want to just say, yeah, you should go for your dreams. You should do it. And they look at me and go, well, Dad, you didn't. I wasn't willing to have that conversation be their response.
Interesting. It's very, very profound. And I think, the worst thing at the end is regret, to have regret. It's not the failures, at least you tried, but, the worst, that regret is really painful to have. So, I'm interested in your coaching because you talk about championship run and playbook. Tell us more about that and what does that mean?
Yeah, Chris, for me, everything within Unleash the Champ is sports related. So that's where you're going to hear a lot of the playbook, the championship run, I don't even say morning and evening routine. It's your warm up and your cool down. Every week when my clients send in their review, it's called film study. So all of my stuff is geared towards athletics because that was my world. That was everything growing up. And I love sports and what it means and what it can teach us. And so for me, the championship run is that vision. What do you want to be known for? I talk about there's going to be a dash between 2 dates in your life. What do you want the dash to be? That's your championship run. That's the thing you're striving for. That's the thing you're making strides to get. And that's what it is. So you set your championship run, and then from there you can reverse engineer it back. And every one of my clients, they go through and we set targets using the playbook. So the playbook is there's 4 phases of life. That is personal, your body. How are you improving and pushing this one body we have? 2, relationships to yourself and others. 3 is the emotional health and well-being, your spirituality, your faith, your like how are you growing internally? And then 4, in its rightful place, professionally. So if your listeners are hearing that, PREP. So we prep using the playbook to unleash the champ. And so for me, it makes it to where my coaching is very action based, very trackable. It's very, okay, hey, this is what you want, this is what it needs to get there, and we just check the boxes. Because I think within coaching, though it's a very new thing, it's, I was listening to a podcast from the World Health Organization, and coaching has only been established like 35 years. And so it's a very new thing, and it's got a lot of people that are like, oh, I couldn't get a job, so now I'm a coach. And people that are, went to tons of school and things, it's like, man, who is this joker? But like, I just listened to a podcast today where there's some insurances that are now allowing their people to use their insurance, their health insurance, to pay for coaching. And so it's really taking a lot of place of legitimacy in the marketplace. And so for me, my coaching is going, okay, hey, what can we track? What can we measure? Because where performance is measured, performance improves. And so if we can continue to do that, continue to push the needle forward, move the ball down the field, we'll hit our championship run every time.
Nice. Yeah, I like that. Yeah. The other thing is, from your coaching and from your client, what do you see most clients being held back, and why do some of them not step into their championship run?
They don't think they need it. That's the biggest barrier that I get the opportunity to overcome with the type of people I work with, because success covers a multitude of sins. And oftentimes when things are going great, you don't think, you know what, I should hire a coach. Hey, I should get somebody in my corner that's going to help me move forward. But one of the things that I talk about is you don't have to be sick to get better. You don't have to wait till your life is in flames, your leadership is plummeting, your team hates you, to go, maybe I should bring somebody in on this. And so the biggest barrier is not competency, because the people I work with are incredibly smart. It's not the investment, because they're really successful. They spend, more money on frivolous things than my investment with me. But it's getting them to a place where they understand the value of having somebody walking alongside them, not for the rebuild when everything's up in flames, but just the checkpoint. And your listeners are going to understand this as physicians. Like, it's important to have regular checkups. It's important to have people, whether it be healthcare professionals, psychologists, counselors, oil change. Like, there's so much in our life that we just put on a routine schedule to make sure everything is good. But yet with ourselves, oftentimes it's like, nah, I'm good. But when things are all up in flames and I want to burn it all to the ground, then I need somebody. So that's the biggest barrier. And so if you can get beyond that, then you can really have somebody go, okay, hey, look, I'm not saying that when you need a coach, it's because things are bad. Oftentimes I'm taking people, like the book says, from good to great, great to champion.
Yeah. I know we're coming out on time here, and what are some of the key characteristics of the truly successful from your perspective?
Yeah, I think truly successful people, one, they give more than they can take. I mean, that's kind of universal. The truly successful understand that, man, there's a lot of people that help them get to where they're at, and so they want to pay it forward. I have a problem with anybody saying that, they're self-made. Like, you were at least made by two people. So off the bat, like, none of us are self-made. There was, and so I think when you understand that, and then you give freely, because you understand that whatever you give, not because of this, but just in fact, is that it comes back to you. I think the truly successful are proud learn-it-alls. They're never satisfied with just on what they used to learn. I typecast some people sometimes when I have consultations or work. I'm like, and you're like the Uncle Ricos. So if your listeners watch Napoleon Dynamite, where Uncle Rico's talking about what he could do 20 years ago, it's like, no, like, don't rest on what you did, a year, 2 years, 10 years, 20 years ago. Like, how are you learning now? How are you evolving? And so when you give more than you take, you're always learning, and puts you in a place where you're truly magnetic, to where, yeah, challenges come, but you understand because you're rooted in going, hey man, it's going to work out. I have what it takes. I'm worthy of success. And when I know more, I'll do more. When I have more, I'll give more. And when I give more, I pay it forward. And so that's three very easy qualities to go, all right, they're truly successful.
Yeah, nice. It's been a really fantastic conversation, and really inspiring, very motivating. I love all the analogies. A lot of your responses will resonate with the audience. So how can people get a hold of you, contact you, and possibly even work with you?
Yeah, absolutely. So the easiest place, the hub for all that I have going on, is unleashthechamp.com. Unleashthechamp.com. Email list. You can contact me straight through there. For your listeners, I give my personal email out. I may not do it forever, but I like it now. Kyle at KyleJSullivan.com. And that's my direct email. No assistance on that. That's directly to me, and I'll see it, and would love to hear how it resonated and what I can do to serve.
Awesome. For all the listeners and the audience, Kyle's links and resources will be in the show notes. And thanks so much. And we look forward to hearing more about your future success.
Absolutely. Thanks, Dr. Lou.
I'm excited that you made it for another episode. You are truly the best. If you've been following the show for a while, you know that my passion is to bring you the education you need to find your path to financial freedom. Please come back week after week for new content, new resources, and great guests. Until then, if you haven't already, please be sure to check out the website, www.drchrislumdphd.com, for more support. I'll see you next week.